Gracias por escuchando a Robertson Stash.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Robertson Stash. I'm Matt Robertson, and today we have on one of my personal favorite artists, Joey P. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. I was a big fan of yours before we've ever met. Really inspired by your work. I love what you do. Thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so here, let's start off. How would you describe your work? Because it definitely has a certain flavor, but could you describe it? I know you make all sorts of different things.
Cute. I don't know. Cute. Most people would say cute.
Appealing, easy on the eyes.
Yeah, I'd say my work is like kind of whimsical. I think my honey stuff definitely is a little more on the serious side than the cute side, and I like that, having that.
Is there a story about the honey stuff?
The honey stuff kind of chose me more than I chose it.
Okay.
I was doing non-functional work with Peter Muller, and we were doing these vases, and we were just doing all sorts of nature, and I was doing like birds and plants and insects and all sorts of stuff, and I tried doing the honeycomb. And the honeycomb is a really good story, actually. But
is this out of soft glass?
No.
Boro?
This is Boro.
He was doing soft glass.
Yeah. We were doing these, like he would do a furnace blown vase.
I've seen those. And
cut it open.
Like installations on walls.
Yeah. And then
I loved those.
So they would be like bowls that mounted on walls or vases, and they were cut open, and then they would have my borosilicate sculptures inside, and then we'd hextile them together.
Sick.
But the honeycombs were cool because I was trying to do them, and I was like, the way I was doing it was just, I tried so many different processes of doing it. I was like marvering a gather into a hexagon and pulling it down, and trying to, line up all the ones that fit together, right? And that was just a pain in the ass. And then I was hanging out playing pool. I played pool league in Massachusetts, and Jerry Kelly was on another team.
Nice.
And we used to play as a team, and then we were in the back smoking a bowl one day, playing pool, and I was like, Jerry, man, I'm trying to make these honeycombs. And then, he just takes a hit of the ball. He's just like, just vac it. And that was it. And that was really cool.
Wow.
But then from making them, and we were making these vases, and me and Peter were doing like an art show down in Miami, and these kids came with cash. This is like 2009, 2010. And these kids came up with cash, and they were just all about the honey. And I was like, why do you guys like the honey so much? And they're like dabs, man. It's like like hash oil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Honey oil back then. Like,
yeah.
I remember honey oil before dabs.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So then you had the idea to vac stack them. Did you still do hexagon like pieces and
I did at first, and then I just went to round because
it kind of goes that way anyways.
It's just a natural process,
And then, so do you put frit around the...
Each cell has like silver strike frit or whatever color I use.
Is there fume involved with that too?
No, well, silver strike is basically fume.
Yeah.
But I don't fume, no.
Cool. That's awesome. So, what inspires you to make a new piece? Do you have like a moment in time that you get inspired by and you're like, let's do sea life, or...
That comes and goes. Well, it's kind of cool. Like I have a kind of a selection of different stuff that I do that I've been taking it the past 10 years, kind of like in seasons, I'd say, like some 3-4 months, I'm really into robots, and then I'll switch it up and do honey stuff, or then I'll do sea life stuff or something else,
Yeah,
and then it's just been so busy the past 10, 12 years with collabing and traveling and everything. It's just like you're trying to keep up with collabs too. So
yeah. Well, having all those different things that you're known for really kind of, keeps your collabs fresh, because you could do a honey one, you could do a sea life one.
But I'm finding that a little bit the people I've done all the obvious collabs with, now it's getting to like me and Peter Muller were working last week, and we were like, ooh, well, we already did that. Did that. So that makes it a little more difficult to get into. So I'm trying to come up with some to stay fresh.
So what are some of your favorite collabs that you've done out there in the past?
I mean, definitely the banjo ones and
Yeah, they're
buck
huge.
ones, and those are like really a lot of time. So
That
I
last
mean,
banjo one was, I mean, had moving parts in it too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Little or rudders or something.
I mean that was like 10 people, like 2 weeks, so that
Yeah.
was a lot. But I just say like, you know, a lot of my clubs, I can't pick any one favorite. It usually boils down to the you know, like the time or the time we had, or you know what I mean. Some people
The vibes around
some
it.
people aren't fun to collab with, and some people
Yeah.
are really difficult to collab with. So I guess the ones that you just vibe really well,
Yeah.
you know.
For sure. Yeah, we talked about that with Z when we Z on here, talking about collabs and just the vibe it traps.
Well,
when
some
you're
people you
making-
don't even need to talk to. Like me and Banjo, like once we kind of have this
Yeah.
idea, we don't really need to communicate all that much. You know, throughout it, we'll alter things, or like we'll have a little short discussion, and then we can really go on our own and just do our thing. And that's cool. And then some collabs are really difficult where you're like either waiting for somebody to finish something, and then you're still kind of unsure of what you're still doing.
Yeah. Some are a lot harder. Yeah. No, that's for sure. Who are some of your personal favorite artists
You?
in any medium?
No. I love your work, man.
Thanks, dude.
I mean, my personal favorite word.
Yeah, like glass or any other medium too. Do you?
Oh, well. I mean, for glass work, I mean, I like everybody's style. I really find enjoyment kind of, you know, really looking at people's work, and like even that alligator, I didn't notice it at first, and then I'm like, holy shit, damn! I was the sickest piece on the table, and I just didn't. That was funny. It didn't stick out right away, but oh man, I don't know if I really want to like who my favorite artists are. I mean, mostly music, I'd say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who are you listening to?
Willie Nelson's definitely my
Willie
favorite.
Nelson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm really into country. I have a really eclectic taste in music, so I like electronic, country, folk music, rap. You know, I like everything.
Yeah.
World music.
But Willie
Latin
Nelson
music.
would be on your top 5, say. Favorite
Willie
musicians?
Nelson's my number one.
Number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen him live?
Yeah, like probably like 20 years time.
So you've made him a pipe too, right?
Yeah.
Can we hear
Meet
about
him-
that story? Did you
got
give
to
it
meet
to
him?
him?
Well, that is a really excellent story about kind of manifesting your reality in a way, because that came up totally by chance, and only because I made the piece. I didn't know I was going to meet him. I had tickets to 4 shows it was before the DFO and after the DFO. Like
Out in Oregon, or was it?
yeah,
sold?
yeah.
Okay.
But it was, so he was playing, like he was touring through Oregon at the same time. So I got front row tickets to 2 of his shows, and me and Darby Buck, my brother went, and it was sick. But like a month before the shows, I knew I had the tickets. I know Willie shakes your hand at the end of the show, and I was like, I'm just gonna make a pipe and somehow get it to him, dude, somehow. And then I made the piece. And then one of my friends' dad owns a hotel in California and was having lunch with Willie's manager.
Oh, wow.
And so showed him Willie's manager the piece, and then gave us backstage tickets, and I got to meet him on his bus. And
No way.
Yeah, that was most like.
So when did you give him the
starstruck.
pipe? On the bus?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was the most starstruck I've ever been.
Yeah.
I kind of blacked out of that.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember
It's all
too much.
blur.
Yeah.
What did he do? Can you remember?
Yeah,
I'm
I got
sure
a picture
he was
with
just
him.
blown
Yeah,
away.
it was him.
Did he hit it?
No, he doesn't. I mean,
Does-
he only vaped at that point.
Oh, okay.
So he was going on like, he gave me like a half an hour, and then he went on, and I stayed on his bus for another 20 minutes
Holy
with his
shit.
wife and his kid. Yeah.
That's amazing. Have you talked to him since?
No.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, it's one of
That's-
those things.
that's a magical
But it's one
moment.
of those things. It's like sometimes when you're walking around Vegas and someone's like, "Yo, man, I met you," you know, and they're like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and the dude's like, "Oh, I met you 8 times already," and you're like, oh, "Shit."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't expect Willie Nelson to remember who I am.
Yeah. I'm sure he
So,
will, man.
no,
He's
I
got
don't
that
know.
pipe,
He's
probably.
turning 90 though. His
Yeah.
going
Wow.
out to his concert. He's got a 90th birthday. It's like it's like 30 different artists. It's huge. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
really?
like- yeah.
Celebrating his birthday. That's cool.
Kind of like a tribute.
What year was that you met him?
2016, 2015, something like that. I mean, out of all the concerts I've been to, like probably good 15 of them were the exact same show, with altered guitar solos mixed in. But
Very cool.
mean, that's
dope.
got to be tough. But I mean, that's why he's still going, is because he's still touring.
I'm sure he
You
loves.
know, if he just sat down and retired, I bet he wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
I think that
I bet.
that
A lot of
need-
people-
that need and that drive to keep doing that.
Yeah. Like when my dad retired, he should have probably had some more stuff to do because it's kind of like your livelihood.
But I don't see.
I don't think I'll ever retire.
I don't
Like-
see retiring from this.
No,
though.
it's part of my life. It's what I,
mean,
would
you
do
might-
anyways. If
you
I
might,
had,
you might be. Well, you were saying I'm not going to sell anything anymore, but there's not.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever see myself stopping making.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't need to in this business.
I think making anything is kind of like an internal need. I just need to fidget with and
Yeah.
have something.
Otherwise,
to
you
do
get
with
idle
my
hands.
Yeah.
Get up to trouble. A word from our sponsors. Have you guys heard of Mystic Timber? The original wood-handled dabbers and roach clips, handcrafted in New Jersey since 2011. Man, that was a good year. Made with titanium tips that are laser engraved. Shop our brand new collection. We have 4 sweet collabs with them right now. You can find those at mystictimber.com or go check out their Instagram at mystictimber. So we're talking about music. How's the accordion playing going?
Oh, I left that in Honduras at my wife's house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So next time I go down there,
Okay.
I got to pick it back up.
You're recently married.
Yeah.
So how are you enjoying married life?
It's unbelievable. It's actually
Yeah?
really awesome. Yeah.
That's cool. And is your wife liking it here, the climate?
Yeah.
It's a little different than
my
Honduras.
wife is from Honduras. I met her when I was 17. I went with my father to Honduras to deliver like an ambulance for this nonprofit organization that my wife's name is Nellie. Nellie's father
An ambulance?
runs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it fit in the back of a big giant plane
No,
or
it was like a
something?
Land Cruiser. It was like a
okay.
It was like a 4x4.
But it still flew there, right? In a
Yeah.
big
However,
cargo-
it was delivered there, but we just went when they got delivered to the village.
Interesting.
So her father ran the organization. So I was 17, and then Nellie's got 3 sisters, an older brother, and I instantly fell in love with her. I would have married her when I was 19, but that didn't work out, and it probably worked out for the best. Everything works out. So
That's amazing that you guys have known each other. Like
and
20
we just continued a
plus years ago.
friendship throughout the whole thing, and kind of our lives met back up, and now it's going awesome.
That's awesome. Family life, it's great, man.
Yeah,
Kind of
it's
keeps you
definitely
in
a
check.
change because I
Yeah.
was living pretty cowboyish.
I know.
for-
I mean,
for
I just got to
a
say,
while.
I got to give you a round of applause here because you've been sober since September, right?
Yeah, it's actually 6 months yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's the first day of spring yesterday.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
vernal equinox. That's a
Yeah.
special day. That's a great symbol.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's been
That's amazing. And you look great, and your work is just getting so,
That
it's
was
dialing
the
it
one
in.
thing. I don't know. It was just COVID and depression and just one of the hitting, I don't know, maybe a little midlife crisis or something. But COVID just got me to where I could work from home, but I was kind of just alone, just working, drinking.
Yeah.
And then that just went downhill. And luckily, I have an awesome family and awesome friends. And with the help of that, and I was able to get out of that little cycle.
Wow.
So
Man, power to you, man. That's a huge feat that you just did. 6 months. That's quite a milestone too,
Yeah.
man.
Congratulations.
That's really awesome. So, to anybody else who, like, I'm very sober curious, so I'm very curious to hear about your story. Is there anything that you did besides, get more into a family life, family routine? Is there any other things that maybe someone listening, like a little tip or a trick? Because, it's like after a long day's work, it's, you're here, have a beer. Sometimes it just one leads to two, but.
I mean, it was just kind of, I knew it was something I wanted to do because it got so bad. But it's really just it takes, I think it was probably 2 or 3 months that I was till I wasn't really thinking about it. It wasn't really like difficult anymore. So that without the right support system is really difficult to do.
Yeah. So that first couple of months.
And I mean, kind of having
part.
the responsibility of my wife out here, and just, after a certain amount of time, you're just like, drinking, abusing alcohol and stuff, it's just a really vicious cycle where you feel sick, and so you need to drink to continue to not feel sick. And so it takes beating that. But when you're living that, you hate it too. So I didn't like it, and it was just hard to jump out. It just needed an amount of time to
expose itself and really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a month isn't long enough. It was really like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not really a big deal, and I'm much happier, much more productive. I got regular sleep and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Feeling way better.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, you're looking great too. You see it in your work. I mean, it is a vicious cycle. So.
Hey, it's life, though.
Yeah.
It's life. It happens. And
it's good that you realize it. I think that's what the government wanted everyone to get during the pandemic. Stay inside, drink alcohol, watch TV.
I know they were doing it.
It was tough.
Well, they were making
don't talk
it
to your
like
friends.
delivery alcohol.
Yeah, delivery right to your front door. We're going to waive the taxes on this. Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So
I remember they tried to take it away for a minute. They were going to be like, "Oh, liquor stores are closed."
Well, for
and then people
no,
I remember that.
The next
That's
day, they're
right.
like, "No way, we cannot do this."
Yeah, I know that you're a huge scuba diver. Tell us about that.
So
I know you had some pretty close calls. You showed me a picture one time with a giant.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Put some B-roll of this picture that I saw of this man-sized. No, after the show we're gonna put it in on the show, but we're just writing down the time. I mean, what are some crazy experiences you've had scuba diving?
I've been scuba diving 20 years now.
Wow.
So I started out in Honduras on a trip visiting Nelly, and they have a couple islands off the coast that are really, really awesome for scuba diving. So
you go to.
I mean, when I was 19,
my buddy's island.
I got in Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, the diving in Honduras is way better.
Yeah.
But Mexico is just more touristy, so it's it's kind of
more people
crushed. Yeah, a lot of it, the coral.
So what do you look for when you're looking for a good scuba diving spot?
It depends. There's all sorts of different scuba diving. So there's cold water scuba diving with wetsuits and cold water. I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
Then there's Caribbean, tropical scuba diving. I'm much more into that because you don't need wetsuit or anything. It's usually on an island.
Mm-hmm.
Catalina was really cool off the
California.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was cold water, but it was kelp forest. And that was really cool. It was almost like a giant swimming pool they had buoyed off. It was gigantic, though. You couldn't scuba the whole thing.
So you're not worried about sharks?
No.
Not
Scuba
really?
diving, imagine, you got to think about a shark. What a shark is thinking about you as a scuba diver. You have fins on, you're 8 feet long, you're blowing bubbles. It doesn't
tasty.
It doesn't want anything to do with you. It doesn't know anything.
Really?
It's it
avoids scuba divers?
So the main thing with scuba diving and animals, it's if you don't mess with it, it's not going to mess with you. That's the golden rule. If you don't mess with it, it's not going to mess with you. Primarily. I mean, there are things where you can mess with it accidentally. So that photo I showed you, I had a 8 foot long manta ray. No, not a manta ray, a moray eel.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it. And I accidentally swiped this thing. It was all up on my chest, and I didn't even notice it. And I swiped it away, and then I didn't even see it until the guy showed me the photos of this giant eel behind me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And those things are nasty. If they
got a mouthful of teeth, don't they?
They're little razors, and they're just you won't die or you won't lose a limb or get infection from the bite. You'll get an infection from how dirty their mouth is. So it's like the bite isn't really bad. They like lock on, but the infection you'll get from the bite.
Really? So you got to go right up to the boat, get it.
Yeah, I heard nasty stories.
Wow.
And they're like cats. They're really kind of fickle. Those are ones that probably you are more likely to
unpredictable.
Yeah. But don't mess with that.
So have you seen a shark while you've been scuba diving?
Yeah.
Big ones? What kind?
7-8 foot, like black tip reef sharks.
Okay.
Not anything like. There's no like recorded fatalities or attacks scuba diving.
No recorded.
No.
But surfers,
like
lots of
St.
surfers,
Croix.
right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. As a scuba diver, you're underwater blowing bubbles.
Yeah.
As a surfer, the shark, you look like a freaking seal.
Thrashing.
You know what I mean? You look
guess so. Big
like
white
a
belly.
black silhouette on the surface of the water,
okay.
so you look like food. That's why surfers get hit.
What about the bends? Have you heard of what's that about? Have you had a close call with that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So what happens? Do you know about that? The bends?
So
yeah.
wait,
So you can like die, right?
Yeah. So your tank is basically a mixture of atmosphere condensed. So
So it could be a little off.
okay. So when you go down underwater, every 30 feet is a complete atmosphere of air with pressure. So at 30 feet, you're 1 atmosphere down. At 60 feet, you're 2 atmospheres, 3. Then, okay, so all that air compresses. So when you go down below 100 feet, there's nitrous oxide in your tank, and you'll get a little. It's called nitrogen narcosis, and you'll get knocked out. You'll feel like the dentist. Yeah.
Really?
You'll just be floating around like, all happy and everything, and you're like, what? What is going on?
And then what do you
first
do?
time, it goes away after a while, and you get used to it. But like the first time my instructor brought me down, and I was like 19, she brought me down below 100, and she like wrote out a math problem. It was like 9 + 7 - 3, and it took me like 45 seconds to figure it out. I was so messed up.
Whoa.
And then she cracked an
What
egg.
did she have, like a little underwater pad?
Yeah.
Because that's how you communicate, I guess.
Yeah, there's a
right?
little slate pad, like a chalkboard type thing.
Okay. So what do you have to go? Okay, no, Joey's fucked up.
Imagine you go down there and you're taking in this compressed gas, and then you go up from 3 atmospheres to sea level.
Mm-hmm.
All that air is expanding. You know, like if you brought
In your lungs? Or in your
all the
body?
air is expanding 3 times the size. So you get gas stuck in your joints and your blood. It's nitrogen. And it expands and it stays in your joints and it can kill you. Or you have to go into a decompression chamber. So if you get it real bad, so say you have an emergency at 100 feet and you go straight to the surface. You're
going to get it.
You're
And you
gonna
have to,
get it, yeah.
So you need to slowly.
Unless you're, there's some like guys that are lobster fishermen in Belize and stuff that do crazy stuff all day and probably use 10 or 20 tanks a day going down 100 feet,
just
coming right
immune?
back up. Well, I mean, it's just their bodies eventually kind of get used to it, but it's still really dangerous.
Interesting.
But I've
How deep have you gone?
Probably 180.
108?
Yeah.
I can imagine, man.
But you don't get too
Being
much
that
time
close from
down there.
air.
Yeah,
Like if you had an emergency, do you have? Is there like a balloon that would pull you right up to the top if
No,
you did?
because that's super
that would be.
dangerous.
Oh yeah.
you could die. You
Easily
might
then,
not
though.
even, if you come up straight from 100 feet,
Your eyeballs
you
would
might not
explode.
even
I've
die.
done that to a flounder before on a
You might
fish.
not even die from
Eyeballs popped out.
from the bends. You might just die.
Yeah.
So there's another thing called that's called saturation diving. So this is cool. So this is mostly for like underground welding for oil drilling and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
So these guys will live in it because so to decompress from going down to when you're talking to 300 feet or 1,000 feet. You can go down to 1,000 feet and you need a rebreather, and you can go down there. You get 8 minutes down there and it takes you 12 hours to come back up because you have to come back so slow.
Wow.
So these guys stay in a capsule. It's a bell that's always pressurized to where they're working. So they can come up to the bell. They have to stay in the capsule the entire time. And they can go down, work, and then the bell will bring them back up. But it'll keep them at that pressure the entire time. So
And they sleep in the bell?
yeah.
Oh.
But then I was watching this YouTube thing about one time the bell failed, and the whatever they're at the pressure of being at 500 below water, or 500 feet below water.
Yeah.
They're pressurized to that, and then the door failed when they were at ground level, and they just very vaporized, exploded. The people in
What?
there. It was
They died?
oh, yeah, not even just instantaneous. Like they
Wow.
just
From the pressure? Like a
Yeah.
vacuum? Like they...
Oh, it's
Oh,
like
what did it look like?
It's like that
So
airplane.
we took a video down. We took a video of one of my pipes down just to pretend like we were smoking it. And I wanted to blow a dab into a balloon and then bring the dab down and try to dab. But my buddies were like, don't do that. That's
Yeah,
really
you don't wanna fuck with
stupid.
that.
Yeah. And, but anyway, we brought the pipe down, but I didn't release the pressure on the Pelican. And when we got down to 60 feet, we couldn't open it. I thought the Pelican had crushed the piece inside.
You couldn't open a Pelican at 60 feet?
No, because the Pelican was like this. I thought it
Interesting.
crushed the piece. I was so worried.
Wow.
So we had to go back up, release the little thing, and then
They have those little pressure valves.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
I guess for like an underwater camera, I don't know what else you'd use that for with the pressure. Huh. Except for this, smoking a pipe down there.
But so think of the pressure of pushing in on something and then just being like,
I can't imagine.
it's like popcorn.
It's probably not. Like, maybe it's a good way to go.
It probably wouldn't be a painful way to go. I don't think you'd feel anything.
Wild.
Because it would be absolutely instantaneously.
So speaking of cold water in the lakes and stuff and the oceans, did you ever do your cold plunge that you said you were going to do?
No, I didn't. I missed it.
I went a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
And
Wait, can you still go?
I went on my own with my friend, and we broke through the ice with an axe.
Oh, call me up.
And we went. I will next time.
All right.
It was
I'll do that.
painful. We went for like a few minutes in there. You got to keep your hands above water, and it was numb, dude. Just pure numb in Clear Creek over there.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful sunny day.
Call
We
me
hacked the ice. It was awesome. This is some of Mile High Dave. Shout out Mile High Dave.
Oh, Dave.
He's a sponsor of this season. We're going to be sampling some of his latest products next episode. I have a question for you, Joe.
Yep.
So do you have any collections, or do you like to collect anything? Some people, I like to see a couple of this.
You gotta come over to my house.
What?
You gotta come over to my house.
I do. I know. I've seen it. I've been there, and I've seen some of it. It's kind of. It's very. You seem to have a couple of things like the Japanese fighting bots, whatever. You have,
Oh, the Gundams and stuff.
Gundams,
yeah. No, I mean, I got a
There's some other
pretty
things that
huge
you-
crystal collection.
Crystals, yeah.
And glass collection, paintings, toys and stuff like that, Legos.
Is there any specific themes? Or are you looking for antiques?
I
Are
mean,
you
I
looking
have a
for-
lot of
Where are you drawn
paintings.
to?
I have a lot of like indigenous art that I've
Indigenous?
collected. Yeah, so like I collect these Huichol paintings from Mexico.
What are they called?
Huichol.
What is that?
Huichol. Huichol are people in Mexico, kind of the Oaxaca area, and they make these yarn paintings, and they do those sculptures with the little glass beads. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
those? And then they do the paintings that is like it's on a board with wax, and then they use thread, yarn,
Oh,
to
I feel-
make a whole painting. It's
Okay,
pretty
I
cool.
think I've seen that.
A lot
That's
of
neat.
those are cool. And then crystals.
What's
and
the
stuff.
subject matter usually? Is it scenes or is it stuff?
Well,
Of the
the ones
animals?
I have are kind of from ceremonial. A lot of them nowadays are. I have some older ones, but the art originated as they were gifts from the shaman after a ceremony. So the shaman would paint these after a peyote ceremony.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. So they're pretty old?
Yeah, the ones I have are like 60s, 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I have some more current ones, and it's kind of sad. I have some nasty ones from really contemporary guys, but it's just really tough for them to make a living even doing that.
That's dope.
I gotta know, man. Can you speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Bilingual? Completely fluid?
Yeah. My Spanish is like 85%. I'm like on some of the like higher conversational things, which is my wife. My wife is she's still learning English. She's her stepfather's American. She understands it perfectly. She's just getting over her fear of speaking.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
I met her the other day in the studio.
I mean, for me, it's Spanish. I've been learning Spanish for like over 20 years. So for me right now, I don't even care if I say something stupid, if I know it's wrong or, you know.
Can you say, thanks for tuning into the Robertson Stash?
Gracias por escuchando al Robertson Stash.
Okay. We're going to use that there. Very nice.
Fantastic.
So I was doing some research on beekeeping. Do you know what the name of a beekeeper is? There's another name.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I know
What is it? And how do you say it in Spanish?
Oh, I don't know how. I mean, I might know it.
How do you know? What is it in English? Because I can't even pronounce it. We don't. Do we have a? We need a Jeopardy. Do do do. That's the good one for that.
I'm gonna Google it. No,
It's like in the
a
Pacarius.
beekeeper?
What is it?
Yeah.
So you do a lot of competitions. Do you like competing in front of a lot of people, or is it stressful for you, or is it natural
It's been
now?
stressful. I mean, the last one. I don't know.
Was
like
that
to
Champs
compete.
the last one that you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that one was the best one I've done in a while. But that was because I wasn't drinking. It really took. Okay, so I think the two things that really I can say have completely changed, but is getting ready for a show. Like I always was stressed out to the last minute, and I always pushed it to try to like finish that last piece. And sometimes like that last piece doesn't even work out for you, and you stressed you out getting ready for the whole show.
Yeah.
So like I've been a little bit better about just all right. Got done when I got done. I need to get ready now.
Rest. Take a day before. Just prepare yourself. Yeah. I just did that too for the last two Vegas shows, but before I'd go right up to the last minute because I felt like I needed to put everything into it, and then I would fuck the piece up, and then I would be all stressed out at the show, and like it's better just to have a day for yourself. That's really,
But I have had those times where that pays off too. In that
you get an extra.
You go all out to the last minute, and then you do sell that piece, and it was like, wow, fuck yeah, I was happy I pushed it. But
yeah, we're getting older though. Yeah. It's maybe in our 20s and early 30s. So you don't mind competing in a show anymore? It's not stressful for you? You just kind of tune everybody out?
I really haven't been about like winning or trying to win. I've just been trying to like complete the piece. It's really tough. I mean, I feel like I used to be quicker.
Yeah.
And I'm not as... I don't know if it's that or if I'm just more picky and I need to do it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I was less
like
picky.
you notice something no one else would ever notice it, and then you fix it.
Yeah.
And there's a point where
it's kind of funny how that can drag you down.
Oh yeah, you just got to get over it. Say it's handmade. I like to say it's handmade.
Yeah, but one little flaw on like a perfect piece, and it's got one little thing, and it could be just the color too. It could be all the colors fall.
And you might not even notice it when it cools down. It's like when it's hot, you see it more. But so, is there anything you do to like prepare before a new piece that you're making at a competition? Do you make the piece? Do you draw it out, or do you? I
sketch it out. I probably should practice it, but I haven't been as like. I mean, if I was really out to win, I think I would take the time and practice it out, make sure I'm like fitting in the times. But the last time I think we practiced a piece was 2014 or something before it fell off. So it's all good though. They're fun. It's kind of amazing what you can get done in that amount of time.
That's the crazy thing.
It's like normally it's like one day you can never get. So that's kind of why I like them too. That's why I like teaching too, like doing the demo classes. Like you can get done 3 days in a demo class what I normally get done in like a week or two.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Just because you're focused.
Classes, I feel like you might, I guess if you're crushing, yeah.
Well, there's no like downtime.
For the
pipe
Pipe Classic,
like you
dude,
take an hour off. You know,
I can't believe people make that shit in 10 hours in Pipe Classic. Crazy stuff. You got to make it all from scratch there. You can't bring anything. Okay, I have another question, and I already know the answer, but if you could smoke a joint with anyone, living or alive, who would it be? Willie Nelson.
Yeah, well.
How about besides Willie? Willie's off the table.
I mean, it's hard to think of these things too, because you're like, when you're on the spot a little bit. So it's hard to.
But maybe let's say like
I think Matthew McConaughey would be a fun.
That would be a great one
to smoke a joint with.
Because
I wouldn't want to just smoke a joint with anybody that wouldn't be fun to smoke a joint with.
Yeah, wow. He was just on this podcast I listened to, but he went and did like an ayahuasca thing with like tigers somewhere way out in the. It was this crazy story, and he like tamed a tiger. Like it was. But he was talking about it. We're speaking about Willie. Well, how's Willie and how's Charlie Brown doing?
Oh, good.
Is he still kicking it?
Yeah, actually, Merle's in the car. Charlie Brown's my chameleon.
We'll take that dog for a walk. I was there when you named him. Remember? And it was like the guy who Charlie Brown. Like, just like, oh shit.
We just call him Charlie now. No, unfortunately, we named him Charlie Brown, and then 2 weeks later, the real Charlie Brown committed suicide.
It's fine. It's funny.
No,
it's not funny.
I have a chameleon, and I named it Charlie Brown, so I could call it Charlie Teal or Charlie Pink or Charlie whatever color he was at the time.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
You know what I mean? But because he was brown when I was naming him.
It committed suicide?
And I came over and I told Joe that.
Not my chameleon. My chameleon.
I was like, he just did that today.
The real Charlie Brown, the voice of Charlie Brown, the actor.
Yeah, the actor. He was like 70.
I think he was 70 or 80s, yeah.
So they're doing good? Is it really colorful?
Yeah, he's doing good. I gotta clean out his cage this week though. Yeah. I wanted to make it like some glass things in there.
You made a little tiny bong for him, right?
I made like a little coffee table and a little bong for him. But I wanted to make it like Tomb Raider in there and do like glass, like make it look like ruins and shit. Like just cool. Portland gray frit. Just make some blow out some statues.
That'd be fun.
Like make some
spice things.
I wanted
up in
to
there.
look like a jungle.
Oh, so you've been blowing glass for how long? 20 years or so?
20 years.
Yeah. Me too. 20 years. This year's 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started going to school for it.
Class,
yeah, and me too. Furnace class in 2003. And where did you go to school? Did you go to school for?
I went to a place called Snow Farm.
Okay. And you took just furnace glass there? Did you do other things?
No, Snow Farm is like kind of it's like a little mini Penland type school. So it's kind of just like, it's just like individual courses, like little workshops and stuff like that for a few weeks, whatnot. And I started furnace glass, and I was like, I definitely wanted to make pipes. I was 19, and
you knew you wanted pipes?
I was in community college, and my ceramics teacher was taking like a glass fusing class, and I was like, whoa, glass blowing? I never even thought of that. That sounds cool. So I took the glass blowing class, and then the dude was making a goblet, and I like nudged the assistant, this hippie assistant, and I was like, bro, how do they make pipes? And he's like, no, you want lamp working. And I was like, no, man, I don't want to make any lamps. And he was like, no, you want like torch working, like with the torch, not this. And I was like, oh, okay. So he had a barn up in Vermont, and he was like, come up, I'll show you what's up. And he like, let me use this torch just for this is my first thing in flame working after having a week-long furnace class. And I went up, and he showed me how to turn on the torch, gave me a couple color rods, a couple clear rods, and was like, I'll see you in 3 hours. And I was like, at the end of 3 hours, I had this little tiny dog, and I was like, how do you gather, bro? I was like, I don't know how to get a mass of glass. This is like with the little pencil.
Elbow down, elbow up.
Glass, you know what I mean? And I was like, no. But I think flame working worked out, and it is well with a lot of people in glass, just because to run a furnace shop in the market.
You're married to it. You're married to a furnace.
And I think a lot of furnace stuff is kind of sloppy.
Yeah. Well, man, as soon I did it for 3 years. But to get the detail that we get into a piece, and then you can build a giant piece
and
from it.
Then you need.
Look at how big your pieces are.
Yeah, but then it was
two people. Yeah.
$300 to rent the shop for a day, and it was probably $300 for an employee for the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Plus
$600 for 1 day of work, and then that shit might not even work out on you.
I know. Then you got to cold work it.
Yeah.
That's a process, dude. It's backbreaking. It's
So
hard labor.
Flame working where I could just sit up in my garage, my parents' house, definitely.
Wow. So did you take some classes with people like at the beginning? Yeah.
That's all I did was pretty much I took.
Who were some of your first classes that really changed your game, would you say?
I mean, my first classes were Sally Prash was my first teacher. She's a scientific glassblower, but we was in soft glass, and so I started flame working.
Moretti?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
were you doing
That's
beads?
what I started. Besides the one day I had at my buddy's barn, then I took a flame working class, but it was soft glass beads. Like I didn't even know the difference between boro and soft glass. So I was doing soft glass beads, and then I was still like, "Hey, Sally, how do they make pipes?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Is that what you found out about?
Yeah. So I was like, "Sally, what's up with that tube over there? Can I use that?" She's like, "Okay." So anyway, but even
were you doing sculptures out of soft or just beads?
Yeah. So
okay.
I did that, and then I took Emilio Santini class. I took a Lucio Babacco class in Italy. And that was all soft glass. Lauren Stump class, all soft glass. Yeah. So I can flame work. I'm actually really thinking about getting back more into it.
The colors are amazing in soft glass. There's different.
Have you seen Joy Munson?
Oh yeah, I have a piece of hers on my shelf over there. Her animal sculptures are.
Yeah. I wanted to buy.
Yeah, I got a giraffe one
in Florida, but
the colors, just the level of detail you can get because it's softer.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's less repairable, less forgiving.
Thermal shock.
Yeah.
Can't put a flame to it.
But I think learning how that sculpting was so, it was just wild. Like I remember, for 3 years flame working, really most of all my knowledge was soft glass. And even flame working soft glass, like doing beads and pendants and little animals and stuff and doing craft fairs. Mm-hmm.
It's no really.
Then even the transition to boro, I still didn't even get it. So I remember 3 years into flame working, trying to make a goblet, and I was still trying to keep it hot with the raging hot blue flame. You just can't trying to even keep the stem and the whole thing hot.
Yeah.
And the thing just cracking on me. I'm like, how does this not? Why isn't this working?
Out of soft glass or out of
no, out of boro.
But you had the soft glass mentality.
Yeah.
Okay.
But soft glass is the same thing. You can go everything in soft glass pretty much flame
it's tougher
work.
to blow though, right? You can't
most
really blow
stuff
out hollow vessels and Moretti. It's no.
I feel like if we utilized a Bunsen or had a somewhat of a bench
so
top,
liquidy.
What about a bench top little glory hole? Just a little bench top.
You can do that with a little chicken. I've seen those little goblet ones. Yeah. Cool.
See, the thing with soft glass is there's two ways to work it. You keep it hot the whole time, and you get it in
you had an even heat.
You get it in the kiln hot, or you do you let it bench cool, and then that with sculpting, you can let almost everything in soft glass bench cool. All Lucio's sculptures, they're all bench cooled and then re-annealed after.
Now, Lucio Babuca is one of my favorite soft glass flame workers. Let's put some his
he'll do the
chandeliers.
He'll do his sculptural stem, and all those chandeliers. Those are all furnace blown, goblets, and those are all made on the furnace.
And then how does
the Avolio? No, it's all a trick in the way the Avolio, the connector is made. Oh. In the way you apply the heat and really babying in and.
It's cold and then he just spot heats and puts it on.
It needs kind of
an embolio.
Yeah.
That's the stress reliever.
Yeah, the way kind of hourglass is in.
Yeah, I knew that was an important part of soft.
The blob, but then an hourglass is in, so it doesn't transfer heat up into the vessel at all. It's really stopped at the thinnest point. So and it's
So all
super
those
cool.
figures are put on by like a little Involio, you think, attachment?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. They were sassy, dude. Some of these, they had like devils
He's
in suits with like
quick.
bananas up their butts.
Yeah.
Like, he made some weird ones for like a king I heard out somewhere. A king like gave him a certain amount of money and then like had this like wanted him to do this and it was really, we'll have to put some pictures up because it's like sexual devil, like funny.
I mean,
funny.
his studio is pretty wild. Like you walk into his studio and it's all like 17th century French erotica. Like,
Really?
It was like a library of like old European porn.
No way. Where is the studio? Like what?
Murano.
Murano? Okay.
But no, I mean it's cool. Like
I gotta get out there.
His theme is pretty much Italian classical sculptures and stuff like that.
I love him. He was a big inspiration when I was first starting out. Well, anything else you'd like to add, Joe's? You got any big shows coming up? Anything going on?
No, I'm
so
really
it'll be released
kinda-
for months and months.
I will be. I'm making a new website and merch.
Do you have the name of it?
It's joepglass.com.
joepglass.com?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
we're gonna
new
drop
website
that.
coming up probably in the next month or so, but it'll be
What kind of merch are you gonna have on there?
making a lot.
want some.
Making
What?
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah? What do you got? Like hats or sweaters?
I'll show you some pictures.
Okay. Well, so how can people see your work? Just through your Instagram?
Instagram, Joe P. Glass.
Joe P. Glass.
Yeah, and then the new website be up and coming soon.
Sick, man. Well, thank you so much for being
Yeah.
on the web
Thanks,
or
man.
the podcast today. There's some great stories, and
No, that's fun. Thank you.
thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. We'll see you next time on the Robertson Stash.